So, Mr. President, shall we start with your speech in Cairo? That indeed was a speech that created a lot of stir, both here and in the Muslim world. Was it the beginning of something bigger to come, or is it just one-off thing?
No, I think that this is going to be a sustained process. As I said in Cairo, one speech is not going to transform policies and relationships throughout the Middle East or throughout the world. But what I wanted to do was to describe very clearly that the United States not only respects Muslim communities around the world, but that there's an opportunity for, I think, a new day where there's mutual understanding, mutual tolerance, where the United States is seen as somebody who stands with people in their daily aspirations for an education for their children, for good jobs, for economic development. And just as the United States at times has, I think, not fully understood what's happening in Muslim communities, sometimes there have been countries that haven't understood the rich history of Muslims in America. As I mentioned in that speech, it was Morocco that was the first nation to recognize the United States. We have Muslim Americans who are doing extraordinary things. In fact, their educational attainment and income is generally above the average here in the United States. We have Muslim members of Congress. And in fact, we have 5 million Muslims, which would make us larger than many other countries that consider themselves Muslim countries. So what we want to do is just begin to open up a dialogue around which we can constructively work together to deal with significant issues. One of those issues is the issue of the Middle East, and I've been very aggressive in saying that Israelis and Palestinians have to resolve their differences and create two states that can live side by side in peace and security. And I've put forward a special envoy, George Mitchell, a former majority leader of the United States Senate, to work with the parties involved. But part of the key is also to isolate the extremists who have been wreaking havoc around the world. And we're seeing that now in Pakistan. And I think the Pakistani government and the people of Pakistan recognize that the kind of mindless violence that we've been seeing, that cannot be the answer to long-term prosperity.
Well, talking about Pakistan, some people say that it is still too early to push Pakistan into a military operation or offensive in South Waziristan, that the Pakistan army and the Pakistani state is not strong enough to win that, and that it may break up the country.
Well, let me make 2 points. Number one, nobody can or should push the Pakistani government. The Pakistani government is accountable to the people of Pakistan. I think the Pakistani government and the people of Pakistan recognize that when you have extremists who are assassinating moderate clerics like Dr. Naimi, when you have explosions that are killing innocent women and children, that can't be the path for development and prosperity for Pakistan. And so there's been a decision that's made that we support, that the Pakistani military and the Pakistani government will not stand by idly as extremists attempt to disrupt the country. But ultimately, these are decisions to be made by the Pakistani government and the Pakistani people. What the United States believes is that we are a partner in the process of peace-loving nations seeking to root out extremism, increase development, and that is the kind of role that we want to play with Pakistan.
Fair enough. But do you think the Pakistani state is strong enough to win this war?
Well, I think that I have confidence in the Pakistani people and the Pakistani state in resolving differences through a democratic process and to isolate extremists. Dating back to Jinnah, Pakistan has always had a history of overcoming difficulties. There's no reason why it can't overcome those difficulties today.
Well, going back to what we discussed about the Muslim world, there are issues that are too difficult even to discuss. For instance, in negotiations with India, what they say in inverted commas, they don't even want the K word to be mentioned, which is Kashmir. And initially in your inaugural speech, you did mention Kashmir, and after that it has been absent from the statement by you and other officials of your administration. Why?
Well, I don't think that we've been silent on the fact that India is a great friend of the United States and Pakistan is a great friend of the United States, and it always grieves us to see friends fighting. We can't dictate to Pakistan or India how they should resolve their differences, but we know that both countries would prosper if those differences are resolved. I believe that there are opportunities, maybe not starting with Kashmir, but starting with other issues, that Pakistan and India can be in a dialogue together and over time to try to reduce tensions and find areas of common interest. And we want to be helpful in that process, but I don't think it's appropriate for us to be the mediators in that process. I think that this is something that Pakistanis and Indians can take leadership on.